Yo, people, lateness is greatness. Welcome back into the building. You already know what time it is. It's time for another all-you-can-eat Chelsea episode. And I'm joined by my crew, by my gang, Younes and Miz. First of all, Younes, bro, how are you doing?
I'm lost,
busting
mate.
Shapes over there. All I just see is Younes just like this.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm obviously, we're all chilled right now, aren't we? We're just relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, we've just...
Life is good.
Hey, we just sorted out our one issue in midfield, and now we're ready to compete. Miz, bro, how are you doing? Talk to me. How are you? New kid,
yeah,
look
man,
at
I'm
that
good.
sexy thing.
I mean, there you go, guys.
Oh my god!
Chelsea,
Do you know what? That actually might be our best kit.
Yeah, it's so good. It's lovely, man.
One of us.
I don't want to overdo it and just wear it in every stream. Do you know what I mean? But I think I might just do that. Do you know what I mean?
Just wear it, dash it in the wash, wear it again. That's what I'm doing over and over.
Nah, man,
it's been good after a
week. True.
It's been good. Obviously the what do you call it? The deadline transfer day was wow. That was something special. I'm glad it's all over and we've got our man and we can focus now, man. So it's good.
Someone said me moving my position is weird, so I'm gonna put me back. Is that all right now?
Yeah. I enjoyed my time in the sun, my 15 minutes.
Consistency.
Nice one.
Because usually always the host is on this side, but I was like, let me mess with them and put me down there and see if someone didn't like it there. He's like, no, that's just weird. Stop that. Okay, big up to the chat as well. Big up to all you guys in there. I hope you guys are well. Obviously, we only 5 minutes past 11. I'm sure you're shocked. I'm sure some of you will only be arriving at 10 past, expecting to be ready. Expecting to get the start, but unfortunately, you missed the start. Look at this is what happens when you count me out. Like I said, people.
Is greatness.
Facts, literally. I mean, there's only really one place to start. A certain Saul Niguez has signed for the club on a loan deal with an option to buy of 40 million euros, 30 million, 35 million pounds, whatever you want to call it. And really yesterday really was just Saul day, Hola Saul, call Saul, whatever you want to do with the hashtag. It was Saul day.
Better call Saul.
Like they posted all day about him, didn't they? Really, it was almost becoming a bit unbearable, and he's new. So
it's a shame they couldn't actually use the Better Call Saul thing. I think that's copyrighted or something. I don't think Chelsea
probably because Hola Saul felt weak, didn't it?
It did, yeah, it did.
Yeah, no one.
But I like it. Nah, it is what it is, though.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into Mizball soon because that's really Saul with the Niguez time, isn't it? Yeah. And today's gonna. And by the way, today, guys, in the chat, it's gonna be a shorter show. It's gonna only be an hour because I literally have to get on this flight later on. So we are gonna literally, So we're literally gonna get straight into it. First of all, Miz, how are you feeling with the signing? Because it seems like from a report from CFC news page on Instagram that Saul Niguez was the preferred option for Thomas Tuchel ahead of Tchouaméni, something that I read there on his page. So obviously everybody's saying, why are we not going after Tchouaméni? Why are we not going after this player after Monaco being knocked out of the Champions League? It sounds like Saul Niguez was a preferred target for Thomas Tuchel. So how do you feel about the whole thing?
Yeah, look, it's strange because I can literally bring out so many of Matt Law's tweets on that day where he said that Chelsea's calm, Saul's not really the priority and so on and so forth. If it happens, it happens. And then he said that, it is still transfer deadline. Anything is possible. Then obviously you got CFC new. So it's very difficult to say who has all the right information and whatnot. But I think it's safe to say that as Chelsea fans, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well. I think we all expected Kounde because that was more sort of advanced, whereas Saul was probably not that advanced. However, we all probably wanted Saul because midfield was where we wanted the man, whereas Kounde, as much as we wanted him as well, it was more of a future sort of situation we wanted to sort of lock in. So at the end, I think it worked out nicely. I still think Kounde will happen in January. There's still words that's saying that we will focus in January. Kounde wanted us badly. He literally did not play last weekend, left Sevilla, camped himself at France early, locked himself out there, saying that, let me go Sevilla, let me go ASAP. But obviously that didn't transpire. So we know that this player is keen to come to us. Obviously, there is that little club out there called Real Madrid who's just circling around, and we'll see what happens.
I was just about to mention them. Yeah, just a little, just a small,
just a small shrimp, small little shrimp there. But we'll see what happens in that front. But I'm very, very happy with Saul. Look, I just, the whole thing about Saul, and I need to say this, right? I didn't like the way where some parts of our fan base, it was a small part, because I did run some polls on YouTube and whatnot, and it always seemed to be about 20 to 30% of the fan base that was cranking up a bit of a shitstorm if we didn't get someone like Saul. They were saying, oh, Marina out, Board out, and Board's got no idea. And my whole ideology was that you need to calm down. There's so many good things happening in the club. You can't just be hinging on just the Saul situation. And I was trying to promote that. Look, if Saul doesn't happen, which was a possibility on that day, we still have the likes of Ethan Ampadu. We still have Chalobah. We still have Ruben Loftus-Cheek hasn't left. So I thought, as the fourth guy, we can manage until January happens. And that's the only thing I didn't enjoy in that whole scenario, where some parts of the fan base was really getting upset with the board. But I'm glad it happened. Saul undoubtedly he makes us now complete. Marina said it. He makes us complete. We can compete in all fronts. And he's a top player. So I'm very, very happy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get the frustration, but there's people tend to take it over to a more extreme place on Twitter. You can get frustrated, you can criticize, but then people always feel like they need to take it to that next step where it's over dramatized to a whole point where it's Marina out. You know what I mean? I always felt like that hashtag was just over the top, over dramatized, and not necessary, especially for the Kounde deal that you mentioned, because let's have it right. People were saying, oh, why didn't we just get Kounde first and sell Zuma after? Those people that said that, I'm sorry to tell you this right now, but you just proved that you don't understand business. Yeah. I'm not even going to flirt or dance around the point. You really have just proved you do not understand basic business, because you don't acquire an extra centre-back to have 7 on your roster and then try and sell Zuma, which, by the way, West Ham will realise you have 7 centre-backs on your roster and therefore lowball you even more and take you all the way up to deadline day. So you don't get that 30 million. You get 15 or a loan or some bullcrap like that. You get the lowest possible offer you could possibly ever imagine for Zuma, who is, by the way, a good centre-back, a very good centre-back, and deserves to be sold at a decent price. You get lowballed ridiculously because West Ham are like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Keep 7 centre-backs. Either you sell him or you keep him. We don't give 2 shits. But at the end of the day, you don't want 7 centre-backs, 7 wages to pay. And they had the verbal agreement for Kounde lined up, ready for when Zuma left. But Sevilla wanted to get cheeky. That's how business goes. That's what happens sometimes when you're negotiating. This is real life. Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand why people wanted to base their Marina out stance on a Kounde deal that relied upon someone being sold. You knew that. And West Ham were clearly messing about for the last couple of weeks of the window. And Zuma also didn't want to go to West Ham initially. Remember, Chelsea tried to get this done earlier. Zuma rejected West Ham. And then he realized, oh shit, I actually need to go there or I'm not going to play. This would have gone a whole different way if Zuma had gone to West Ham initially, or West Ham had not started pissing about as well, trying to see if they could get a bit of a lower price in the last week and wasting more time. So Sevilla had a deadline for Kounde because obviously they need to replace him. Chelsea wanted to get Zuma out weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. It didn't happen. That's business. That's how it goes. Younes, bro, what do you make of this deal and obviously the Kounde situation and just all the stuff that we've been talking about?
Mate, I think you're spot on, man. I think you're spot on with everything you've just said. And I'm hoping for people that didn't understand, now they understand it. What I want to add is to the whole Kounde thing is we went into that window, we went into deadline day thinking Kounde was going to happen, Saul wasn't going to happen. And we ended up with no Kounde, but we got Saul. So, happy days for the whole Saul thing. But for Kounde, look, even in terms of Sevilla and Monchi, because Monchi done the press conference, didn't he? On deadline day and spoke about the release clause. Even from their point of view, you got to understand when you hear verbal agreement, and we know this now thanks to the Harry Kane situation at Tottenham, that means nothing in modern day football, modern day business. A verbal agreement, if it's not on paper, it's not binding. Simple, right? So if Sevilla had a verbal agreement with Chelsea, I'm sure Chelsea knew in their heads, they're not naive, and you see the way that Marina does her business and the way that we conduct ourselves. They definitely knew that there's a chance at least that Sevilla could try and pull off something. And in the end, they did. They added more in terms of trying to get a negotiation price higher. And at the end of the day, they went by this deadline. I don't know what the whole complication was with this deadline, but afterwards, apparently Chelsea made a bid and it got refused because it was so low. Then they just went, okay, no, you know what? Release clause. And Chelsea went, okay, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And this is the thing, coming back to the point about the fan base, because on deadline day, I was seeing quite a lot of people, and a lot on Twitter is more than likely a very small minority in the real world. Let's have it right. Twitter's always just an echo chamber, doesn't reflect the actual populace itself. Yeah. But I saw a lot of people on there. Oh yeah, no, we're not backing the manager. We're not backing the manager. We just bought a £97 million Lukaku. We're not backing the manager. Marina out. She needs to go. She doesn't know what she's doing. But you got to understand now, a day later, so yesterday, I'm seeing some of those same people go, nah, you know what? Maybe we actually came out of that window looking strong. Maybe we actually made a good decision. This is the thing. Don't be too reactionary. I was reactionary at a time. I remember I was Marina out at one point. I mean, fair days. We had horrific windows back in the day. But look, you got to acknowledge when things are being done correctly. And now we are doing things more than correctly. We are doing things perfectly. And I couldn't be more happy of the way we're functioning. We've managed to get Saul. He's through the door. We got our fourth midfielder. I think he's going to be utilized a lot, by the way. We're covered in defense. Let's have it right. Chalobah came in at the right time. And I think this could actually be a good thing for Chalobah, if I'm honest. Maybe things are just aligning for him. And, by the time we get to December, he might be a first-team regular. You never know. So I hope Chalobah really, really does well. But right now, I think we're fully covered and we're ready to win multiple trophies.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo your point now, I think for me, I just think the longer you do this, the more we kind of learn to calm down and assess things a little bit better instead of just trying to be super reactionary on every single thing that happens. Don't get me wrong, because people always bring up this point. Well, how can you back Marina when she's done all this in the past, and look at our window in 2017-18 and we still have all those players? I'm not saying that was good. That was an absolutely horrendous window. And if I was on social media back then, I would have criticized the shit out of our club, because you don't sign Danny Drinkwater for 40 million on deadline day. You know what I mean? You acquire a loan or something. You don't do what we did back, Zappa Costa and Babarama. You don't do all of that shit and me come here and give you anything other than criticism. However, you have to notice the change in Chelsea's scouting policy and Chelsea's approach policy in the last couple of years. If you haven't seen the difference since Petr Cech came through the door, and I think Makelele is also within here somewhere as well. If you haven't seen the difference from Chelsea's, the way they operate in the last couple of years, you're purposefully trying not to see the change, because we are clearly acquiring more technical players. We are clearly going after a younger age bracket. We are clearly using the youth more often than we ever did. And if we don't use them, we're selling them for good money. Or if we can't get good money because they're running out of contract, we're putting back clauses. Even the improvement from the Tariq Lamptey deal to now Livramento, look at the difference. Look at the difference. We sold someone with 6 months left in their contract because we wasn't really paying attention to the promise. And we ended up getting screwed over with a low deal, no clauses, and there's nothing we can do. Fast forward to Livramento, same situation, but we've got a buyback. That is an improvement. If you don't want to look for the improvements because you don't want, I don't know, maybe you just have a serious agenda against her and you really just don't like her. I don't get it. But you have to look for improvements always. And we're clearly just acquiring better quality players as well. We don't acquire the players that we used to in the years previous. We're starting to actually buy either people in their prime that are technically complete, or we're buying very young, promising players. So we may have been poor, but right now we're doing a lot better. So you have to praise it. And not that it really matters to us. The net spend this summer has been ridiculous for a team that have actually improved. And by the way, we're the only team in this league to improve on every position we had to improve on. We had to get a striker. We had to get a midfielder. We didn't have to get a defender. I keep saying this. This was a bonus. This was icing on top of the cake. We replaced Trevor with Zuma. We keep it moving. Literally, our defense was our strongest point last year. Now, maybe next year we might need something even more, of course. But we're the only team, the top team, to improve on what we actually needed. City didn't get their striker. United didn't get their DM. Liverpool didn't get their midfielder and maybe their attacking depth that their fans wanted as well. If there's one injury, Jota comes in and then their bench is absolutely horrendous. We've got far more attacking depth than Liverpool. They didn't replace Wijnaldum. And I don't need to speak about Arsenal and Tottenham because they're irrelevant when it comes to talking about these points because they never will sort themselves out. So we're the only team to actually address what we need to address. Yeah, Man United got their fancy, all-time leading international goal scorer in Ronaldo. I keep saying great signing, but it was a panic buy. They weren't looking for a striker before Ronaldo was about to go City. They just bought him because we have to get him because he's Ronaldo, which is great, but they didn't actually address their midfield. And we saw against Wolves with Adama Traore that if you don't address your midfield, there are transitions and it will be peak. And Fred got dragged around like a ragdoll. So we're the only team to actually address what we need to address. So I think this has been an 8 out of 10. I mean, Miz, what would you rate this summer?
Yeah, man, minimum 8 out of 10. If anything, probably a 10 out of 10. Because the fact that, I don't know if you guys have noticed, please go out and check out CFC Daily's tweet at the end of the transfer deadline, where he's tweeted out the net spend, I think, was about 3.1 million in the green. So
that was Sky Sports getting, I think, their information from Transfer Market, but they didn't take into context. I think they didn't take into context some other deals. So it's actually we're 32 million in the profit.
In the profit, So I knew we were probably in the profit, and that number was a little bit skewed. But nonetheless, it was still great compared to what Arsenal did, something around 140, 150 million. And
150 million.
Probably went backwards. Going back to, it's facts, right? Going back to our situation, and I was looking at that tweet, the number of players that were out, I knew there was a lot, but there was literally 2 pages of players that was outgoings. Yeah. And this is what the live chat, nearly 500 of you guys, smash the like button first of all. What we don't understand is the amount of work that went behind the scenes to get rid of a lot of these players. That needs to be appreciated. I think this particular window, not only it was very important to get a striker because that was the biggest hole to plug in this particular window, but it was also equally important to get rid of a lot of the mess that we created previously, a lot of the loan players that we kept on keeping in the team. So we have to appreciate what we've done as a club in order to get rid of it. We probably need another 2 more windows to really sort things out because there's still quite a lot of players that are on loan. And we've either extended their contracts so that we can get a deal later on. So we do need to see that. So from an acquisition point of view, we've said this a long time ago. Us 3 sat here and said it, that CB wasn't the biggest issue for us. Kounde was an opportunity for the future, and we will still sort that out, which is fine. Midfield, cover. Not that our midfield's poor. Our midfield's very strong, but the cover was needed, quality cover, and the striker. And we've done that. So for me, I mean, how can I sit here and say it's not a 10 out of 10? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that was a 10 out of 10.
What about you, Younes? How are you going to rank it?
I mean, I want to say 8.5 out of 10. If we got a defender in, obviously, if we got a Kounde, for example, it'd be a flipping 20 out of 10, I reckon. But what makes me agree with Miz as well is the basis. Not just that, we didn't get a Kounde, right? And I understand that's a factor. But we didn't allow ourselves to be played, you know, in terms of that whole Kounde deal. There was a circumstance there which kind of affected everything, which made us take that decision to not trigger the release clause. And in the long run, that was the best decision. So it's not a case of, we missed out on a defender. We actively chose not to pursue the condition that Sevilla put on the table. And that is a good thing. So when you look at it, the whole transfer window is a success. It's a whole success. I want to say, to be honest, you know what? Let's just call it a 9 out of 10. Simple. We'll just round it up. 9 out of 10. I think in terms of all the outgoings as well, another point that we have to make is, yes, we managed to sell a lot of the players that were not first team players, were not even squad players. Some of them were like Tammy Abraham, Giroud left. He's already served his purpose. Tomori, you know, players like that. But we've allowed players to go out on loan who now have options to buy. I'm assuming like a Bakayoko, for example. I'm not sure if players like a Drinkwater who's gone out on loan or others have options to buy as well. But there are players that have gone out that have option to buy on their contract. And that will probably result in more money because there's no way they're coming back into the Chelsea squad. That's for sure. So down the line, we've already secured ourselves more money coming in. This is how good the club is, man. It's unreal. And we've improved the squad. This is mad. This is the crazy thing is we managed to end up in a net profit and improve the squad and address all the areas that we needed to address, including a striker for 97 million. It's crazy. When you look at Arsenal, spent 140 million and the squad's worse.
And Younes, we managed to put buyback clauses on the players that we think are going to be someone we're going to bring back. Incredible. Honestly,
perfect.
Stop the show, bro. Stop the show. Stop this show,
We're
bro.
too good. We're too good.
Stop this show.
It's mad, bro. And like Zappacosta, we finally got money for. Bakayoko, we finally got some money for after the obligation to buy. Drinkwater's out on loan to Reading. Somehow, some way, he's not at the club, which is just great. We was never going to sell him, but he's in his last year and he's not at the club. He's at Reading. Babu Rahman's at Reading as well. Like, yeah, Barkley's still here. There's a few.
Just stick Barkley in the cupboard at this point.
But there's still Turkish league and Russian league that are still open.
Yeah, so there's still hope. Obviously, Tino Andrin just went on loan to Moscow as well.
Barkley in Istanbul. Wow.
Ooh, Barkley in Galatasaray, man. I'm watching that match.
Oh, God.
Trabzonspor.
Oh, God. Can you imagine? Jeez, Fenerbahce or something. Derek says, big up the chat, guys. Who's going to be Saul's partner in midfield? He and Krover have similar playing styles. Well, we're going to look at the variations soon for sure. I think, obviously, I'll put it on slow mode, guys. It's on every 10 seconds. I've seen the feedback. I'm still really just seeing what works best. And obviously, it's a subscriber-only chat as well. So, and I think after you subscribe, I think you have to wait about 10 minutes before you can actually put something in. So that should stop the spam. And then hopefully anything that comes through the mods can block if you see any fake names. Another super chat here, really much appreciated as well from Luke Dagoon. We're going to answer that question in terms of partners very soon. We're going to get onto that part of the show. Luke Dagoon says, we've somehow managed to improve a Champions League winning starting 11 and improve depth whilst making a profit. Marina Masterclass, simple as that. I can't really agree more. For me personally, I think I'm going to give it an 8 as well. The only thing for me first of all, I won't give it a 10 because I don't think there's anything really for me that you can have really ever a perfect window unless you sign maybe Messi or something. But I think the reason why I'll give it an 8 is because it was very clear to me that Tuchel did want something down that right-hand side. And that's the only thing that we just couldn't quite sort out. Obviously not really our fault on the Kounde thing. Hakimi clearly wanted to go to Paris. I don't know where his ambitions lie, but that situation didn't materialize either. And Chelsea just didn't decide to bid officially for a player that just clearly didn't want to come to Chelsea. But that right-hand side was clearly something he wanted to just sort out. You know, there were links with Adama Traore, there were links with Kounde, Hakimi. And I do think that right-hand side, that's the only part of the team where I would think to myself, sometimes it would be nice to be a bit more attacking and adventurous down that side. Reece James is obviously very good. We saw against Arsenal, good going forward at times as well. But just that extra real threat down there would have been great. And I was looking more at right wing back when I thought of that. Unless,
Hudson-Odoi stayed, I guess.
He did, and that's why I say that it would have been great to sign someone, because then maybe Hudson-Odoi, that's what really brings it down for me, is that we didn't allow Hudson-Odoi to go out on loan to a Dortmund, even though it was very late. I think that would have been an incredible deal for us, for him, for his development. And I was saying to Miz on Twitter,
Chelsea were very quick to say no, though. Just to say,
yeah, they were.
Very quick to block the move. Like, no, it's
I think it wasn't Chelsea, Younes. It was Tuchel saying no. Chelsea hierarchies apparently wanted him to go, because they flagged it to Tuchel, saying that you're not playing this Donny enough. Like, you like him, but you're not playing him. We're worried about his development. And Tuchel's like, well, I admire him. This is the thing. Now that we've kept Callum, I want to see if there's a plan, because if he's not playing till January enough, and by enough I mean, and I'm not having a go at Tuchel. Tuchel can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
you go out there, brother, and win all the trophies for us. I don't care. But I'm just saying that you've now kept a player. Yeah, you better use him, because if you have a plan, because if you don't, by the time January comes around and Mason Greenwood is playing for England as one of the number one players for England, that's going to be very disappointing, because this player just don't.
Sancho as well.
He's going to be 21. Sancho, he's going to be 21. Like, Callum's not. I just don't want Callum to be 22 one day and then, he's still a potential. Do you know what I mean?
But look at his
Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, look at his age group of Foden, of Greenwood, of Saka, of Sancho. His age group are doing very well right now in that area. And he's more than capable of doing that well if he continues to develop. Now, it was only just last week's show where I think you asked me, do I want him to go out on loan? I said no, because I was quite happy with him under Tuchel. Obviously, I've always been drumming home the connection and the mannerisms that have been going on between them. But then, when I looked at the minutes that Nazar put up, I was like, this is way worse than I ever thought. Like, he's proper not getting any minutes. Like, it's something like 170 minutes out of the last 17 games, with like 1,740 or something round about that available. And he's got 170. He's got less than 200 minutes. He's got less than 2 games, 2 completed 90s in the last 17 matches. And he's only completed more than one half of football once in the last 17 matches. So
you're not going to grow, bro. You're not going to grow like that.
Yeah. So I think the only thing that could have taken this window to another level is if he had gone out on loan to Dortmund, because that would have been an incredible thing for him. And we know when he comes back, he's going to be different. And then we had bought someone, maybe at wing back, to be that Hudson-Odoi backup that we're currently using. So then we didn't have to keep Hudson-Odoi. We could just have a right wing back out there, like a Livramento or Kimi or whoever it could have been, maybe someone else. So then Hudson-Odoi didn't have to stay and play that backup role. That's the one thing that I'm looking back on this window and I'm like, it's a little bit annoying. But if he plays games, then obviously it's not going to be so much of a problem. But I think that was the only thing towards the end of the window that did annoy me. But again, that Dortmund thing seemed to come up very late, didn't it?
Yeah,
bro,
deadline
can
day,
you bring up
much.
that comment and then obviously Younes have a conversation, because these sort of comments annoy me.
Which one was it?
Munash Maruru.
Here we go.
Oh,
just leave it there, bro. Leave it there. Leave it there.
Hold on.
Go on, Younes.
Miss, address that. Address it, bro. I'll put you on solo. Address that right now.
Let me just marinate in my head. Let me just marinate. Just let Younes talk for a little bit. Let Younes, because I need to get angry.
Ben said, "Let it marinate."
let me marinate.
Put some black pepper on, oregano, lemon juice, olive oil. You know what? I'm look with Callum. I just want to say one little brief point as Miz, ups the ante a little bit. We'll wait. If he wants to feel like he's at Dortmund, just give him the away kit, innit? Done. We can do like a little thing at Cobham, like, oh yeah, you're at Dortmund, Callum. Hey, here's your away kit, put it on, and that's it. Yeah, sorted. Miz, take it away. Here we go.
Man, all right. Munashi Marukira. I don't know. Well, look, you may be a real person. I don't know. Are you taking the mickey or not? I'm not sure. Maybe you're trying to rattle all of us. But this whole comment of Cho is still very young. Guys, stop overreacting. He will come good if he was 24, 25. I'd be worried. No one is overreacting here, first of all. No one's overreacting here. We are stating some facts. And the fact is that this kid he's got such great potential. Yes, there was the injury that's sort of hampered him, but that is now beyond him now. He's at a time where he needs to play. He needs to play. Think about a child, a young child. If you're not developing that young child from the beginning, teaching him the basics or her the basics, and you expect when they're grown up to do, high-level mathematics or high-level science experiments, it's never going to happen. You need to learn the basics, and the basics are learned now. So for this particular player to not get, as Matisse said, something around 180 minutes out of a possible 1,700 minutes that was available, it's insane. It's insane. He needs to go out and have that game time. And I'm not going to buy it either when people say, but look at Foden. We need to stop putting Phil Foden as if that is the benchmark. That's what happens with everyone. No, that's an anomaly. That does not happen to everyone. That is one out of maybe hundreds of footballers. And you need everything to fall in place for you. You need a manager like Pep. You need all your surroundings, media to stay away from. A whole heap of things needs to fall in place. And we can't say that's going to happen for Callum. For Callum, it was, in our perspective, in my perspective, it was the right time to go out on a loan and get the minutes in Dortmund. He would have absolutely balled out. Dortmund even said, I think there was some comments that was coming from their journalists, that he was probably going to start for them. There wasn't, the competition is there, but he probably would have excelled in that environment, played an attacking form of football, played in the left side of wing, which you guys all want. You don't want him to play in the right wing back position because apparently that's not where he plays. He would have played on the left side. And then he would have had hopefully an amazing season with Haaland and all the other players, Marco Reus over there. And then he would have rightfully came back the next season and demanded minutes, would have looked at Thomas Tuchel eye to eye and said, brother, if you're not starting me, I am leaving. He does not have that ground at the moment to do that. So it's not overreacting. It's just, you guys call him Starboy. Well, this Starboy is going to get left behind whilst everyone else becomes Starboys. You know what I mean? So,
that is spot on, I can't lie. Because, look, Hakimi's only 22. He's only 2 years older. And look how much experience he's got. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit frustrating, I must say. When I seen the minutes the other day, it did shock me a little bit. And it is starting to get a little bit frustrating now. I think, he's been here since he, in this first team since he was really just turned 18. He was in Sarri. Cool, he developed, had the injury. Then he had Lampard's first season. Now he's had the whole of this season. He's been here for 2.5 seasons now in the first team. This is his third season now. Yeah. If he doesn't get minutes this season, I'm sorry, that is looking a bit mad. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of his development now, this is his third season. Let's really start to see what this is all about now, because it is especially and by the way, if we had a firing front three, I would understand those minutes, but Pulisic is injury prone and inconsistent. Ziyech has been injury prone and inconsistent. Like Kai has been inconsistent as well. Like everybody has been inconsistent. Hence why the attacking part of the team has been such an issue. Werner has been inconsistent. So it's not like as if everybody's on form, this is a different conversation. Maybe he even definitely leaves because it's so obvious that clearly we don't need him right now because the attack are doing so well. But the attack are not doing that well up until this point. So
I reckon
that's the issue.
Thomas Tuchel, surely we know Thomas Tuchel now, and we know how shrewd he is. He definitely has a plan for him. Surely he's got something in his head. If not, he would have allowed the loan to go through. I don't see how Thomas Tuchel would try to hinder someone's development unless if he knows that there's something there that he can work with. Now, come January, where a loan move will be possible again. If he hasn't played enough, then I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Just send him off on loan. Or even at the end of the season, if he wants to keep him for the season, because we are going to have a lot of games. This is what makes me a little bit more confident. We have a lot of games this season, man. We are 5 competitions, 5, and one of them is a tournament. I don't know where the Club World Cup's taking place, but we got to go to God knows where to play the World Cup. 5 competitions, and truth is, we have the squad to go far in every single competition.
Yeah.
You know, so I can understand maybe why Thomas Tuchel goes, I want to keep as many players as possible because injuries might come. You never know what's going to happen. But even so, Thomas Tuchel, I'm sure, knows that Hudson-Odoi has the potential and talent to become a top player. So for this season itself, we'll see. Now, if he hasn't played the minutes by the end of the season, I'll be like, you know what? I'd even advocate if he's sold, because for him to just sit around and not do much, it's going to hinder him. So I'll give a chance at least for this season to see what Thomas Tuchel has for him, and we'll see how he's utilized. But I'm willing to give that opportunity. Come the end of the season, we'll see what we've hopefully won and done, and then we'll make a choice from there. But I hope he gets minutes.
Yeah. Sugar Kada says, y'all inspire me to make my own talk show. Tips to start out. I mean, we'll go around for sure. For me personally, my biggest tip would be to come up with a concept. Try and create a show, try and create an experience, try and create a theme, something that stands out, that, you know, will stand out from the other talk shows on the platform. That would be my biggest advice. Spend some time thinking of the concept. If there's going to be a panel, make sure the panel gels, test out the different combinations, get the chemistry. It's like building a team. You know, you can't just get the team to pop off from, well, unless you're us. You know, we just started, this show just started killing it from the beginning, but I already knew these guys very, very well. If you know people that are very well and they suit and they gel together, then perfect. But, you know, it's try and find that team chemistry as well. That will make all the difference. I mean, Ms. Younes, any advice for our brother?
I want to say be original, find your niche, find what you're comfortable, you know, doing and talking about. Don't try and copy others, because it just won't work. And you can take it from us. Definitely just be yourself, be consistent as well, and let the I hate to use the word because the word's been absolutely wrecked, especially recently, but allow the process. Yeah. Allow the process.
Well, that's Arsenal talk, bro.
There is no process. We want to win now.
Imagine Saga now puts on another super chat. Younes, there is no process. No, but I mean, you know what?
God.
Yeah, go on,
in this game, you've got to allow time for your audience to grow, and it starts off hard. But let me tell you, the beginning is always the hardest. That's what I always say. The beginning and getting your feet on the ground is always the hardest bit. Once you overcome that, you're set and run, and just keep it going. And stay original, find your niche, run with it, enjoy it, have fun. Good luck.
Yeah, that's the biggest point, Saga. This is great that you're inspired by us three, and you know, I'm hoping that there's more out there that are thinking that, you know, maybe I can do that with our mates. And of course you can. Of course you can. The only thing, as but the boys have said, originality is so important. You see us three. Matisse is Matisse. I'm me. Younes is Younes. None of us talk the same way. None of us have the same sort of thought process as well. Like, we all bring something different, and that's why this show is a cracking show. As soon as you start copying Matisse, or as soon as you start copying Younes, or as soon as you start copying me, I'm telling you, people are going to find out that, I'd rather just watch Miz, or I'd rather just watch Matisse, or I'd rather just watch Younes. I'm not going to spend time on a phony. Do you know what I mean? So it's very important that you be you and do something that obviously is unique to the whole setup. So yeah, that's the only thing I'm going to say, man.
Brilliant advice. Let's see. I think Prycroft as well has got a super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, I'm actually worried about Ziyech every single time he gets some momentum, rhythm, and match fitness. Something happens with Lukaku, Mason, Kai as first choice, and then Pulisic and Werner. Not sure what happens to Ziyech. I mean, Miz, are you worried about Ziyech? Because he's spitting facts. Like, every time he does build up some sort of momentum, I was singing his praises in preseason. He was our best player in preseason. I was so excited. I couldn't wait for Ziyech to start the season, hopefully take some more long shots, create chances. And then as soon as Lukaku's coming in, and you need to be fit to build up that chemistry, you need to be fit to build up that understanding to prove that, you know, you should be alongside him. You're the key to making him a success, which is obviously the key here for these creators behind him. He gets injured and he's out.
Look, I'm not completely worried as yet because it's still early in the season. Yes, he got that shoulder injury, but his determination is what blew me apart. That the man was back in training after 8 days after sustaining that injury. So, and then he featured against Arsenal off the bench and looked pretty decent. You say that first choice is Lukaku, Mason, Kai. That might be the case now. See, this is the trap I fell under last season as well, thinking, ooh, Kai, Pulisic, and Mount is our first choice. And that looks great. And that looked really good against Palace. I still remember that watch-along. I was actually watching Younes on that watch-along against Palace match, and that was a cracking match. I think we won 3-0 or 4-0, and Younes was just on fire. We were just scoring left, right, and centre. That was a top watch-along. I just remember that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I thought after that, that's our starting lineup. That's how we're going to play every game. But what happened soon later? The Timo Werner and Kai Havertz started to become more of a partnership up front. Pulisic again started to be more of a rotation. And Mace was there, yes, no problems. But I wouldn't get too caught up about this whole first choice business because as Matisse has mentioned already, and Younes as well, there's a lot of competition. A lot of competition. Literally after the international break, we've got Aston Villa, and in 3 days' time or 2 days' time, Zenit. So you can already imagine that first game against Aston Villa after the international break. Firstly, how many of our players are actually going to start? Because there are a lot of players that are playing for England. There's a lot of players that are playing for Italy. So how many of them are actually going to start straight away? That's another thing. Ziyech is not gone to international duty. So I'm pretty sure Ziyech will probably start against Aston Villa, knowing that he's fresh. So there you already have someone who's starting straight away. Then against Zenit, what happens then? Then straight after Zenit, within 3 or 4 days later, we have the next Premier League game. And then 2 days later, another Champions League fixture or a Carabao Cup. So don't worry.
There seems to be a thing with Ziyech as well. First and foremost, I think he's going to play. Again, just like we just mentioned, there's 5 competitions. There's so many games. It's impossible to have the same 11 every game. It's impossible. Players would get killed. They actually probably die on the pitch. Truth is, you're going to see probably everyone in the squad get significant game time. Rotation is going to be key. And Tuchel has that point now in order to rotate and still keep the standard of the team on the pitch really high. That's the luxury we have for, again, doing fantastic business and, having a fantastic squad with a fantastic manager. That's the luxury we have now. With Ziyech, I think that, to be honest, I don't know if there's a problem between him and the Moroccan coach. I know that Moroccan coach very well. He was Algeria manager at the 2014 World Cup. He was fantastic. I love him, honestly. Not as much as I love our current manager, but he's a top manager. And I'm surprised if there's been some sort of fallout between him and Ziyech. I don't want to say there has been, but we'll see what happens in the lead up to the AFCON. If Ziyech doesn't get picked for the national team, that suits us. But I still think he'll go, personally. But I think he'll get game time. You don't need to worry. And this international break, he hasn't travelled, so he's still with us. Yeah,
that probably does work in his favour. Him and Hudson-Odoi, 2 players we've been speaking about, have both actually ended up staying for the international break, so maybe they'll get some training done. Although Tuchel did come out of seemed like some criticism, although I'm not going to make assumptions because I didn't really read the article, to be honest. I just seen the reaction to everybody saying that they was a little bit annoyed with some of his words on Hudson-Odoi not taking up the opportunity to go to the under-21s. Really appreciate the super chat, Viv GFT X there as well. And Raynon says, big ups Matisse, Younes, and my guy Miz. Big up, bro. Really appreciate the super chat as always. I mean, we may as well move on to Saul Niguez for the last part of the show. The small matter of Saul Niguez. The promo on Twitter has been relentless, and on Instagram from Chelsea social accounts. Let's talk about the combinations, because obviously I made this comparison last week on a different show, or probably earlier this week on a different show. But because he's left-footed, and he's obviously not completely the same kind of player, but it just reminds me of when we had Nemanja Matic in midfield, which was the last time we had a left footer in midfield, someone who's a little bit physically imposing, You know, he's got his defensive side switched on, but he can also take a shot as well on his left foot from range. So he just gave me a little bit of Matic vibes, even though he's not the same. Great entry passes into the half spaces from Matic. He got some really good assists over some parts of his Chelsea career as well. Just gives us that balance, the fact that he's left-footed, that he can go over there and just give us that different angle and that different outlook. But Miz, what would you say would be what partnership are you really looking forward to seeing, I guess, with him? Because some people are saying he's a bit similar to Kova. I'd say out of everyone, I'd say he's probably most similar to Kova because Jorginho is very unique and so is Kante. So,
look, there may be times where we possibly might see him with any permutations. Could be a Jorginho, could be a Kovacic, could be a Kante. So don't fixate yourself that there's a one combination that he will only play with. And if that's not the case, then Saul, stay benched because your other partner is not there. So you can't know. It can be any permutation. But if I was to say what is the best, let's firstly understand Saul a little bit. Just a shout out, Matisse knows I don't like plugging and all that, but I've spoken to our 30 fan, Jack Benson, who was in my channel last season. A massive Athletic fan, actually a Scouser, lives in Liverpool, but doesn't follow Liverpool, but follows Athletic from a very young age. So he had something very, very interesting to say about Saul. So do check that video out whenever you get that chance, just a recent one that's down. He was saying that Saul is someone who's got the ingredients of Kovacic, where he knows how to drive from deep, and he will find into different pockets up front, whether it be the half spaces in the right side or half spaces on the left side. He's got the capacity to do that. You guys would have all seen the Bayern Munich against Bayern Munich, that goal that everyone's retweeting at the moment. Even the Chelsea admin did that, where he beat so many players, stood nicely inside the box and whipped it with his left. So he's got that capacity. If you see his off the ball stuff as well, which is very much not at Kante's level, but he can do that. He can break play down. He can destroy play. He's good with the interception. This is one thing you need to have under Diego Simeone. Diego Simeone, commands that type of a play off the ball. And on the ball, as I've already mentioned with Kovacic's similaristic sort of style, he can be a regista as well. He's got that technical ability to receive the ball first up, and look for that one-touch pass and recycle the ball straight away. So he can do that. He's got a bit of every one of our midfielders. So in all honesty, he can possibly combine with almost any one of those three. But if I was to say one best one, I would probably say, I know a lot of people probably wants Jorginho and Saul, but I'd probably say Saul and Kante. For me, that would be dynamic. Like that would be next level. And this is no disrespect to Jorginho. Jorginho, I mean, for God's sake, he's the European.
I think the days of disrespecting Jorginho is over with the amount of accolades he's picked up in the last few months. So
exactly, like don't take it the other way. I mean, we could possibly see a Saul and Jorginho very much, but I think Saul playing as the deeper role and Kante. And this is what Saul kind of wants. And then they can sort of in tandem sort of go up and down whenever they want. I think that's going to be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, just before we get to Younes, Prykov says Saul equals Kova plus shooting ability plus I love Kova. Let's see how he adapts. I'm optimistic about Tuchel getting the best out of him. So am I. I mean, Younes, bro, how are you looking at this in terms of midfield dynamics? Because we've got 4 options now. They're all slightly different in their own unique way. We've mentioned, Saul's unique traits that the rest of them don't have. The fact that he can shoot is a blessing. I mean, now when the ball's outside the box and he's on it, he might actually take a pop. And the amount of times I've said this, we actually do not score from outside the box enough. We always have to score the perfect goal. Yeah, not anymore. Lampard used to hit them. Essien used to hit them. But now nobody does. So hopefully he can do that.
Fingers crossed, man. And, this is the good thing about this window. We've brought in 2 players that give us 2 different ways of scoring goals now. Do you know what I mean? Like Lukaku, fantastic. Does everything you need in the box. Saul now coming in, from outside the box, not a problem. And it's so good that we finally have a midfielder that can flip and shoot. Jorginho can't shoot. Kante can't shoot. Kovacic can't shoot. Now we've got Saul who can shoot, which is nice. And hopefully he inspires the others to show them how to actually do it. The thing is with Saul, I agree with the fact he's very similar to Kovacic, just in terms of stature, possibly playing style, very, very similar. I don't see them two playing together in any way, shape, or form, personally. I think we're either going to get Jorginho Kante and Saul won't be involved. We're going to get Jorginho Saul, or we're going to get Kante Saul. Or games where Kovacic is involved again, one of them miss out, but Saul I don't think will be involved. Unless if it's maybe a League Cup game against a strong opponent, need to rest a Jorginho, need to rest a Kante, maybe Kovacic and Saul played alongside each other, but that's going to be up to Thomas Tuchel to figure out. But it's just too similar and it's matching. I think with different dynamics in different players, I think a Jorginho or Saul or Kante or Saul probably works better.
Yeah.
But the thing with Saul, I think a lot of people interpret him as, cover or the fourth choice. I don't think it's going to be that, man. At first I was thinking, who's going to come in as cover? Saul comes in now, 26 years old, is in his prime, has had a bit of a mental issue in terms of his time at Atletico. Hopefully Thomas Tuchel and a new environment and Chelsea will completely overcome that. I think he'll be on the same level as them. I think now we've got 4 choices in central midfield of Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic, Saul. I think they're all on the same level. And I think Thomas Tuchel will utilize Saul to his advantages. We've already heard from Saul himself saying he's been promised that he's going to be playing in his position. And Thomas Tuchel isn't going to move him to something else. So it seems like Tuchel has a plan for him as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be utilized. But again, with 5 competitions, you will see significant Saul playing time, just like you'll see significant playing time for the others. It's going to be mad rotation this season, so get ready. We're not going to be sticking with the same 11. And Saul is going to be involved. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can score goals from outside the box. That's my look, the first day that we see him bang one in from 30 yards, I'm going to go mental on my watch along.
Yeah, someone's saying, so the panel don't think Saul was going to play in Mount's position.
I was going to say, that's interesting.
I'm going to take that
that's
straight.
An interesting one.
As soon as I seen that, I just thought to myself, that's not what we purchased him for. Like, we purchased him because we lack depth and, durability to some extent in the midfield pivot, which is Kante, Jorginho and Kova. That's where we need the depth. Kante's picking up little niggling injuries at the start of the season. Mount's position, for me, is Ziyech to go and take that, because we've seen Ziyech at Ajax sometimes play in midfield. We know Ziyech has that work rate about him in that Ajax system. That's who Ziyech should be targeting, is Mason Mount, in my opinion, to play that position where you do slot into a 3, you do drop a bit deeper to create, because we know Ziyech can drop deep as well. But at the same time, you can get into the box and score goals. That is the role, even though he's going to play it very differently to Mount. That's the role that Ziyech should be looking to take up. And then the rest is obviously your Kais and your Werners and your Pulisic's and your Lukaku's. So, no, I don't think there'll be any point in throwing Saul Niguez into the front 3 or even into Mason Mount's position, because you're giving him minutes where now if he picks up an injury, it's not even in a slot that you needed him for. You're kind of like you're overdoing it now. Do you know what I mean? You're overstretching him. So it's just not necessary. It's not what we purchased him for. You've got 2 players for each position, sometimes 3 in certain areas as well, in terms of versatility. So I don't see that personally. It's not really necessary. But yeah, we're going to do a short show today, people. First of all, it's the last show, obviously, before I take a break. So it's brilliant on the playback for anyone who comes and sees this and sees that it's under an hour. You can literally just treat it as a podcast and not a film. And also because I am looking at the time and I'm thinking, I know how long it takes to get to Stansted Airport. Younes knows how long it takes to get to Stansted Airport. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to play games today. So we're going to wrap up on this show. And you know what? Always leave them wanting more. Am I not correct in saying that? I know you guys are in the comments. You're like, this is bullshit. I want to. I know the comments are now like, this is BS. We usually get an hour and a half out of you lot. I got way more things I want to address. This is some bullshit, but this is beautiful because now next week you're going to want it even more. And I'll be back next Tuesday. So Miz, without further ado, and it's great for Miz because usually Miz has to rush over to his own stream. He doesn't get a break. Now Miz is getting a beautiful lunch hour.
I can take a nap now.
Miz, let them know where to find you, and obviously your stream coming up, bro.
Yeah, the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me there in about an hour's time. Thanks, Matisse, for giving me an hour's break. In about an hour's time, you can see the latest stream. So do join for that. But meanwhile, if you're looking for something to ponder, I mean, Matisse, do you mind if I drop a link in the live chat?
Yeah, go for it, please.
I personally think this was a cracking show with Jack Benson, and the stuff that Jack had to say about Saul's the whole kidney situation. We're not athletic fans, so we don't know the ins. But the things that Jack said are incredible. You want to listen to the stories as an athletic fan, what they had to go through, and it was incredible. He was saying that those 2 years where he went through all of that was probably his best 2 years under Atletico Madrid. Where literally he was peeing out blood straight after the match for 2 seasons straight.
Jesus Christ.
You do want to see this conversation, and I was just in awe listening to it. So I'll just drop that in the live chat. If you've got the time, you can watch it. It's totally up to you. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening on my channel at the moment.
There you go. So guys, make sure you go and check that out. That was uploaded a couple hours ago. And I'm gonna pin that now, if I can find it there into the chat. Younes, let them know, bro, where to find you and any content coming up as well.
That's thrown me off, man. I didn't know that.
Crazy, yeah.
Definitely check it out. I'll definitely be giving that a watch.
Yeah, same.
100%. For me, obviously, it's international break at the moment. Over on Younes Talks Football, it's normally Chelsea orientated, but I think what we're going to be doing is taking a little bit of a break instead of just Chelsea. Might dwell and have a look at some of the other teams in the run up to the teams coming back from international duty. Might cover the international break and see what's popping in terms of some of the countries, England included. Obviously, we're playing Hungary tonight, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, for the next week or so, it's going to be experimental. Mainly just football in general, some Chelsea content, of course. I'll try and keep it creative, but leading up to when the lads all come back, and then, back to the previews, the reviews, the watch-alongs, and the normal nitty-gritty. So, yeah.
There we go. Brilliant stuff. Well, guys, make sure you check out Younes' channel. Link is in description as well. And obviously check out Miz's latest upload. That's pinned at the top of the chat in the pin message. So even on the playback for the people coming back, just check out the live chat. It's still going to be there available if you've subscribed. And you can check that out as well. Guys, I will see you next Tuesday. There'll be no roundabout. Of course, the series on that is over. So the season finale was this week with Jake Paul fighting and winning his fight there. So if you want to check that out, that's up on the channel. Yeah, gutted. But he has won and it continues. And we're waiting for that showdown with KSI, hopefully in the next year or so. And yeah, there'll be no roundabout, but there'll be no Belfast vlogs, because my friends are very camera shy, so that would not really be as fun as I hoped it would be. But if you do want to check me out and you do want to see some part of me over this next few days, follow me on Instagram. That will be linked in description as well. I'll maybe go live a few times on Instagram. Well, I'm sure I will, because I always go live on Instagram these days. I won't be on Twitter. I won't be active on Twitter. I won't be active on here. So basically it's just on Instagram. And then of course Rants. Yeah, I'm not on Rants' show today because I got to fly. So I'll be on Rants' show. I'll be back on Rants' show next week. Obviously I've missed the last week and this week as well. So apologies for that as well. I know you guys enjoy that show. So without further ado, I will see you guys on Instagram if you catch me there. If not, I'll see you on Tuesday. Check out the boys' channels. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Let me not be lateness is greatness for the flight because they don't tend to like that stuff. In a bit, people. Peace.